Welcome to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast, aka CTP, in association with TheLibertyBeacon.com, and I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard, and that's Leonard. CTP is your no muss, no fuss, just me, you, and occasional guest type podcast. Really appreciate you tuning in. As Graham Norton would say, let's get on with the show!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 81. Yeah, if you've seen me on behind-the-scenes sneak peek video, staring down at my notes to make sure, yes, Season 2, Episode 81, assuming I got it right in my notes, for the benefit of the transcript, laughing at myself. Pretty sure I got that right, but indeed, at any rate. So what's this episode about? Well, it's going to be about two things now. And again, as usual, you'll hear me say, in conjunction with, in correlation with, corresponding with, piece at TheLibertyBeacon.com, DOGE, brief suggestion, then 50 more, as well as, well, at TheLibertyBeacon.com, it's solely going to deal with the DOGE issue. Here on the CTP episode, as author of Terror Strikes Coming Soon to a City Near You, obviously with the terror strikes that happened on Wednesday, New Year's Day, I need to make a commentary about that. And for full disclosure, I am staring down in my calendar, even though I shouldn't. Yesterday was New Year's, gives it away, right? Today, I am recording on Thursday the 2nd. Yesterday was just New Year's Day, so why did I need to look at my calendar to figure out today was the 2nd day of the month? I think my body may be out of bed, but I think maybe my brain may still be back there, half asleep. At any rate, I will comment. I mentioned recording Thursday the 2nd because I was on Maverick News with Rick Walker out of Ontario, Canada last night. You could go to rumble.com/c/Maverick regarding the terror attacks. And today I'll give some updates here because information, of course, still is fluid. Things can change. We were talking last night based on what we did know and some speculation. There's certainly going to be and remain some speculation going on regarding that till more and more of the facts release. But indeed, at any rate, is that number 3 already, or is that number 4 already? Yep. For the benefit of those just tuning in maybe for the first time, as a radio person, aka podcaster in this case, you got to try to avoid the ahs and the ums as, segues, as brain farts, that if you're trying to figure out what to say next or to segue to something else, avoid the ahs and the ums. Well, I've gotten better at avoiding that, but I've developed this verbal tic of at any rate. And indeed, I'm aka Jokester Joe on Savaged Unfiltered. Check me out there too. I joke here that maybe I should rebrand the show as from Constitutionalist Politics to be actually a pretty good podcast name to At Any Rate. I'm sure somebody will steal that along the way if they haven't already, because that really is kind of a good day for a show. But yeah, I developed the verbal tic. So now I do it as an ongoing running gag. So indeed, fourth or fifth time, at any rate, let's actually get into the doggone show, shall we? Right? DOGE, Department of Governmental Efficiency, as it's supposedly known. I am already hearing excuses, but that's not what I really want to focus on here, but I have to touch on that. And please check out thelibertybeacon.com or theforexnews.com regarding my We the People demand list. We had a contract with America. We had a contract from America. We had a contract with America. Now I created We the People demand list because no, you cannot rest. I'm going to make a note of that. Cannot rest, so I can remember to put a link to that in the extended show notes that appear at the Buzzsprout, where this show originates from and through, goes out to 20 plus other platforms. But the Buzzsprout transcript, you could see the extended show notes, including cross-reference related links, like to No, You Cannot Rest. If you expect you're going to go back to sleep and 2 years from now things will have gotten done, well, you don't get it. As I say there, so you voted. So what? What are you doing the next 2 hours, 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years? If you expect to just vote, then go back to sleep, and 2 years from now, anything will have changed. Well, aren't you special? As that old Southern saying goes, right? Expecting something different by doing this, different results from acting the same way is just, sorry, stupid. We have to remain involved. We have to stay on top of our officials. We voted you in this mandate election to do the following things, and we expect, we demand that you do these things, including cut spending this time. But I'm hearing excuses. Well, maybe a lot of these won't take effect for 10 years. No, 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 no. Now, not just now, but yesterday. Because indeed, spending that was authorized by a previous Congress is technically not bound by a next president and Congress. They can change the authorizations, and they should do that. Anything this Congress currently in 2024 has authorized should be immediately overturned. If that money has not been spent, it needs to be clawed back, as the saying goes. If you haven't spent, you were authorized to spend up to Z number of dollars, but you've only spent S number of dollars. Well, T through Z is now negated. You don't get to spend it anymore. We revoked the authorization. We are clawing it back. You cannot spend that extra 1 million, 1 billion, 100 billion, 1 trillion. What? I don't care if it's 2 pennies, 2 pennies here, 2 pennies there, 2 pennies, whatever the amounts, claw it back, cut the spending. Eventually, all those numbers add up to a big number. And we are in $1 trillion deficits, 35 trillion in debt. It can't be sustained. But what I wanted to say about DOGE here is, and looking at my notes, I'm going to just read this, okay? But again, this isn't all that's in the libertybeacon.com piece. This is just the first page. Oh, I did an I caught myself. See what I did there? I did an My apologies. I didn't self-filter that one out. But at any rate, yes, I'm going to read this to make sure I get it right. I have many issues with former Michigan governor, also known as the Governerd, self-proclaimed nerd, then therefore became the Governerd, like Schwarzenegger, the Governator, because of the Terminator films. Anyway, Rhino, in my opinion, very much a Republican in name only, certainly a Sino, a conservative in name only, Rick Snyder. However, while he did not a damn thing to curtail the waste, fraud, abuse of Michigan government spending, and we hear about that all. The waste, fraud, and abuse, there's no excuse to not immediately eliminate any fraud and abuse and Citizens Against Government Waste and any number of government watchdog groups every year. We don't really need a DOGE, but I'm glad we're going to have it. Every year, those groups put out wasteful spending, non-constitutional, extra-constitutional spending. By the billions they put it out, that could be cut. So we don't really need that, but he did, Rick Snyder did fulfill his promise of creating open, public, viewable dashboards, stat presentation, etc., of more easily viewable what was going on and where regarding government income and government expenditures. Got to identify and define, and again, plenty of government watchdog groups do identify it and define it. The Congress never acts on it to be able to make case for cuts or not. That is something of value, should be part of the initial DOGE process. Transparency, putting that information up for all to see. Congress needs to pass a law, the president needs to sign it, mandating that these metrics, measuring systems, transparency mechanisms are put up on both the whitehouse.gov site and the congress.gov site, so we, the people, can keep an eye on the income and the expenditures and where it's going. And yes, I know military black budgets, we're never going to have full transparency. I'm not saying every penny of the Pentagon budget, of course, is going to be viewable to know how it's being spent. You don't let that out online for the enemies of our nation to see. But the supposed open budget for the benefit of the public spending, there's no excuse this isn't online and viewable to all. Went on to say, indeed, secret black ops budget items, they hide all kinds of money laundering. Unfortunately, they have to hide certain monies for secret new weapon systems programs and whatnot like that. That's never going to change, but that's really a smaller part of the budget we're talking about in the grand scheme of things. So just stating obvious, the deep state will attempt to hide all spending under and as such versus our need to get to the truth of things and where things can, could, should, must be cut. Stop this insane Cloward and Piven. If you don't know who they are, look it up. I've discussed them in previous episodes. Roads to bankruptcy the left wants to happen. There's plenty of room for cuts, plenty of room for clawback of previously authorized funds. So no, realizing spending cuts 10 years from now, we've heard that manure before. No, immediate cuts now, not promises of later that never materialize. So indeed, now let's move on to the terrorism thing. Yesterday, again, recording Thursday the 2nd, New Year's Day, January 1st, 2020, too many 20s in there. 2025 is the year, not 2020, 25. There were several attacks. They're still speculating whether or not they're connected because it appears from the facts being put out there now. And again, these are fluid. I'm not trying to dodge any facts, but I am questioning some facts, and some other facts may come out later that may shine new light, which is what I'm going to do here. Again, having been on the Maverick News Show Wednesday night, January the 1st, I will link to that in the extended show notes, or you could go to rumble.com/C/Maverick and find the show there. I was saying, I don't think they're related. The New Orleans attack and the Vegas attack, they seem very different. And one seems like an anti-Trump, anti-Elon political statement, where the other, the guy with the ISIS flag, seems more directly anti-American overall, ISIS-inspired, not part of ISIS, but ISIS-inspired attack. But they are saying now that potentially these two served at the same army base together. So there is a degree of connectivity there in that. Now, whether they indeed contacted one another and indeed conspired to do these things on the same day, or they coincidentally occurred on the same day, all these things are still a possibility, but they need to be treated as separate incidents. It's possible that the guy in New Orleans, who now, originally they were saying they had a bolo, be on the lookout for 3 male potential accomplices and 1 female potential accomplices. Now they're saying they think he acted alone. Well, if he had a remote detonator for the improvised explosive devices, IEDs, that he had with him in the truck and that were planted elsewhere, that he could remote detonate them, it does speak to that he could have done it alone. And this is like a combination attack, like the Halloween drive attack of New York City from 2017, the Waukesha, Wisconsin drive attack at the Christmas parade, I think was 2021. And of course, last year's Germany Christmas-related driver attacks. But this has aspects of the marathon bombing scheme also, with the IEDs that he looked to set off. But for some reason, he got out of the truck, started engaging against New Orleans law enforcement officers rather than detonating those devices. So in that respect, that's a good thing, because like the Boston Marathon bombing, these appear to have had nails in them and would have injured, if not killed, many additional people than those he just mowed down. So these are clarification facts, again, as we know them now. More information may come out by the time this show actually airs. I'm going to look at the calendar for that date to get it right. Saturday, I almost said September. Saturday, January the 4th. Things are fluid. Things can change. The fog of war. Things can get accidentally misapplied or avoided being applied where they do apply. It does take time to sort these things out. But indeed, at any rate, I just wanted to put that out there. Whereas the Vegas attack, the guy did it in New Orleans, and the guy in Vegas 3 hours later might have then just decided, oh, hey, that happened, so I've been kind of thinking about doing this and rushed together or had a plan to do it, but may not have been planning to do it that time, that location, and it was a attack of opportunity. Wow, while people are distracted by New Orleans, they then did that there. There's always the piggyback copycat, like again, the German attack. The New Orleans attack seems to be a bit of a copycat of the Halloween, the Waukesha parade, and the Germany attack, as well as the marathon bombing, as I said. And the Vegas seems just a copycat of any kind of car bombing, whereas thankfully the guy didn't understand electric vehicles. The nature of lithium batteries is they burn hot as the sun, but they don't tend to explode. The explosion, they're saying a Tesla Cybertruck exploded outside the Trump Hotel in Vegas. No one injured, let alone killed, thankfully. No one injured. They did evacuate the hotel for a short period. But no, the truck did not explode. Improvised explosive devices. He had devices like propane tanks and fireworks and whatnot that do indeed explode or can indeed explode. That exploded in a Tesla Cybertruck. The Tesla Cybertruck itself did not explode or cause secondary explosions. Those were all the fireworks and flammable things he had. Now, thankfully, he didn't really have a well thought out plan for something that would really explode, like a Tim McVeigh at the Oklahoma City bombing. That could have been a massive attack in Vegas, but he didn't understand the truck wasn't going to explode. Lithium batteries catch fire and burn hot, and burn for a long time, but those vehicles don't explode. So thankfully, it was a criminal, a terrorist who didn't quite understand fully what he was doing, despite having some Army training. He's clearly not a bomb tech type person, or he could have put together, could have put together, pardon my bad grammar, my bad English here, could have and should have, thankfully not, put together far more things. And the design of the Cybertruck actually kind of contained the degree of the explosion that did happen from within the vehicle. And none of the glass at the front of the Trump Hotel in Vegas was even shattered. It was just a fire they had to put out. So those are the facts and the situation. Again, in New Orleans now, they think he's a lone wolf. There may or may not be direct or indirect correlation between him and New Orleans. The big question to me is, why did he drive from Houston to New Orleans to do this? Why not run over people in Houston and try to blow things up in Houston? I fully expect, since he had the ISIS flag, he had to have had a manifesto somewhere, whether they have it or not yet or not found it. Hopefully we'll see that soon and we'll get some insight into his thoughts there. But to me, that he drove all the way to New Orleans suggests he had co-conspirators to help him in New Orleans, or otherwise, why would he drive that way? That's just a big, gaping question in my mind in thinking of the whole overall terrorism plot as to why in the world would you go and do that. But indeed, at any rate, so the facts as we understand them as of this record session, Thursday, January the 2nd. I'm looking at my clock. It happens to be 11:30 in the morning, so still early. As we know them, that's what we know. Things can change by the air date on the 4th, Saturday, the 4th of January. Do indeed, please check out the DOGE brief suggestion and 50 more at thelibertybeacon.com, and as well as We the People Demand List parts 1 and 2 at thelibertybeacon.com that associate with this. Also, this is almost a part 3, as well as beforeitsnews.com. JLenardDetroit, just like I am on most social media platforms. There are like 5 different ongoing series entries of things there regarding We the People Demand List, because, and again, check the extended show notes. No, you cannot rest. Parts 1 and 2 will also be shown as a related link, because no, you can't go back to, oh, what time? Yes, an occasional break makes sense. I plan on watching the Red Wings game later tonight. They fired the coach. Thankfully, okay, Todd McClellan, a lot of people wanted Gerard Gallant. We'll see if McClellan can cut it. Hopefully we got the new coach bump. But if they don't make the playoffs, the Iser plan's got to be declared an Iser fail. And in my opinion, him be Iser fired. It's I call LCA Little Caesars Arena Lost Causes Arena. The Dead Wings and the Pissed Offs. Both worthless currently at this time. An aside, yes, an occasional distraction. Yes, I plan on watching the Wings game tonight. I think they're playing Columbus Blue Jackets, maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure. But yes, occasional distractions, important. And you see me behind the scenes here writing another note. Bread and circus I'm writing down, because yes, now I will link in the related links bread and circus pieces. You can't go back to being consumed by all the distractions. They want you to not pay attention to what's going on in DC. And you cannot go back to sleep. Our founding documents say, we the people, not him the Trump, not those in DC. We the people are the bosses and in charge, and we the people must stay on top of them to make sure they are representing us and doing what we the people sent them to do, not what they choose to do, and has been the case pretty much forever. You vote them in, you go back to sleep, you don't pay attention. In 2 years, you wake up. Why didn't anything change? Well, because you didn't change. I know I'm not speaking to all of you in this audience. Some of you in this audience are, like me, involved all the time, paying attention and contacting officials and things like that. You need to be lighting up their phones and their emails at least a couple times a month. Every month, year-round, whether it's an election year or not. You need to stay on top of them so they know you are watching this time. You are paying attention. You are being involved. Not, oh, I voted. Go back to the couch. What's on TV? 24/7 bread and circus distraction. No. Focus. We, the people, must stay engaged and be involved. Thank you all for tuning in. I was going to say, sorry. At any rate, one more aside here. I'm holding up a game for those of you on behind the scenes called Am I the Ass? Pardon if there's children listening in the audience, but I'm sure they hear that term all the time, or that word all the time, right? Or am I the behind side from the makers of Smart, you know what? And I'm going to have the maker of this game on in the next couple of months. I just thought I'd mention it because, again, yeah, occasional distractions. This is for adults, so that episode will be flagged as an adult episode. Probably not a lot of swearing or anything like that, but adult themes will be discussed in that about this game. Adults from 2 to 5 players, or as I will suggest during the show, 2 or 3 couples can play as teams for this game, although it doesn't say that or suggest that here. Get to know you and your mate to understand. It's almost like what's the Richard Dawson show? He was on Match Game. The survey says Family Feud. Steve Harvey still runs that now, but the survey questions about, like one I read about eloping, and you as a person or you as a couple, as a team, try to determine of the population who thought, given the full scenario there, they kind of made an ass of themselves, air quotes there behind the scenes, you see that, in eloping when their family would have expected them to have a church wedding or a more official wedding. And you determine for points what range the survey says that, yeah, they shouldn't have done that. At any rate. It's a very interesting concept, something new, something different. So I really am looking forward. I hope the interview doesn't fall through now. I'm scheduled to talk with him next week, the creator of Am I the Ass game from University Games. Maybe you could buy it and check it out before the episode, but I hope you'll tune in for that. So yes, I know I'm repeating myself. I've got to do it. I'm sorry. Yes, occasional distractions, like getting together to play a game. This is still a thinking game, talking about societal norms, societal expectations. So yes, it very much relates to constitutionalist politics. It does relate. It is important. So it's not a complete and utter full distraction, though it is a part, but understanding public sentiment can be an important piece of what's going on in our society and our culture. So I didn't expect to tie that all together like I just did, but it does. So an occasional break, yes, good, but no, you cannot rest. Take the occasional breaks, like playing the game or watching a Red Wing game like I plan on doing tonight, Thursday the 2nd. I think there's a game again on Saturday in the afternoon. I may or may not watch that. Who knows? Whole lot may happen between now and then. So I'm not planning on watching it. I know it's there. Something more important may come up and happen, like, of course, me dropping the show on Saturday, me writing an article for beforeitsnews.com that day, and making sure next week's thelibertybeacon.com piece is ready. And if you see me behind the scenes, I'm reaching over. Where'd it go? I can't grab it now, but I can see it over there. The next piece for Saturday the 11th and next week's show will be about the book of Revelations. Is the end really nigh this time? Is the book of Revelation unfolding? So that's planned for next week. So now you've got a bit of insight and a sneak peek into next week's. I may need to spend part of the day Saturday working on that. And if you don't know, I have health issues. So it's not a question of time for me because I'm on disability. I've got all the time in the world, when I'm not sleeping, and I need a lot of rest because of my health. I'm going to end because I'm rambling and gone longer than I expected. I didn't get out of bed this morning until 11 a.m. I went to bed at midnight last night. So I got, 10, 11 hours sleep? That is not a lot of sleep for me. I may still need a nap this afternoon because of my health conditions. So time is kind of still an issue, but more so energy level. Do I have the energy at any given moment to sit down for 30 minutes to record a show, sit down for 30 minutes to put together an article? I can do things in small spurts and bursts of energy, but my overall energy is such that I can't do this on a regular basis. It's why there are only a Wednesday guest drop and a Saturday monologue drop. I can't do this 5 days a week and only do it for a short period. I'm doing what I can from where I am. Oh, I'm behind the scenes again, lifting up the green screen. It's not really a green screen. It's just green material I got from Michael's, the craft place. So I've got a green screen, crude green screen, green material background that I made in Microsoft Paint real quick. As I say in the opening and the close, your no muss, no fuss show. I'm on disability. This is a low budget operation, and I make no bones about that. Rick Walker's show that I was on, oh, he's got a lot of great high production items and a big expense that goes with that. I can't do that. So I'm doing what I can. When I say no, you cannot rest, I'm not asking you to do anything I don't do. At least do some things other than moan and whine and complain on social media all day long. Although social media platforms are important for what? Like sharing this show, sharing articles. So that can be okay if you're providing concrete things that people can engage in doing, not just whining, moaning, and complaining online. But I have to do more from my ugly couch than I used to be able to do out and about all the time. I just don't have the energy because of my health, and because of my health, I just can't be out in those large crowds doing speaking engagements like I used to do and whatnot, or attend rallies or attend dinner events that had guests. I've seen Candace Owens and Alveda King and so many people over the years. I've had the great opportunity to hear speak, meet at some of the times at VIP behind the scenes events, opportunities to get to talk to people and with people I would have not otherwise been able to. And I'm trying to make this show, the Wednesday guest drops, that opportunity, though Wednesday, for those of you who've hung in with me here at the end, because I know I've kind of rambled and jumped subjects here, but my Wednesday drops not always related to Christianity or politics, but a lot of times they are, like Christopher Armstrong Stevenson in relation to the Revelation. Past episode, I spoke with him. 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people pray, I shall hear, help heal their land. If you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. Rush, not Limbaugh, the rock group, not biblical prophets, but that's biblically prophetic. You shall be known by your fruits. You must sow good to reap good, or you are complicit in the rotten fruits that the evildoers sow. We are then trying to choke down that rotten fruit is born rather than good fruit. So you must stay engaged and involved, not just whining, moaning, and complaining. But Christopher Armstrong Stevenson, we kind of talked that and Book of Revelations and whatnot. So let me make another note. Chris, Steve. So I can link that in the show notes too. Thank you all. Yes, thank you, especially all who hung in all the way to the end of this episode. And yeah, for the benefit of the transcript, I'm laughing at myself, at my own idiocy of my rambling nature and the different rabbit holes I went down. But as I say, that's part of what this show does. Rabbit holes open up, we go down them. Thank you for hanging in here with me all the way through today. Thank you to the regulars who tune in every week. Please like, share, subscribe. I hate that, like parrots on YouTube. Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. They're like parrots, but now that I've got my own show, unfortunately, I've got to say it, for the Constitutionalist movement to actually take root and do something, indeed, I need you. If you are now considering yourself a Constitutionalist, please help bring more into the movement by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Thank you all. Take care. God bless. Let us hope 2025 is indeed so much better in many respects. See you all next week. Take care. God bless.
For having me back.
Glad to have a follow-up with what's going on. I hadn't had the chance to see if Google's still trying to block access to your website or not yet. Has that been cleared up as far as you know?
I don't know. That was the website for my book. My most recent book, Trust Shattered, trustshattered.com was the website in question. And yeah, I don't know if it ever worked or not. I didn't get a whole lot of sales, I'll tell you that.
Well, today, you're back as kind of a follow-up. Already now talked about Trust Shattered. People can, of course, go back into the CTP show archives, find the episode on that. Oh, there it is. For those looking behind the scenes, there's the cover. For the benefit of the transcript, Peter held up the book. But this is more or less, what the heck are you up to now?
I am Joseph M. Leonard, the host of Constitutionalist Politics Podcast. Hoping you will tune in every weekend. Also hoping you will watch for the companion Constitutionalist Politics book, Politics from a Christian-based U.S. constitutionalist perspective. Thank you all. Take care. God bless. Thank you for having tuned in for Constitutionalist Politics Show. If you haven't already, please check out my primary internationally available book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you. Available anywhere books are sold. If you have locally run bookstores still near you, they can order it for you, or autographed copies are available online direct from me via terrorstrikes.info/shop. Be sure to check out more about today's discussion at thelibertybeacon.com, where my articles drop every Saturday. And let me remind, over time, the fancy high production items will come. But for now, for starters, it's just you as a very appreciated listener by me. All substance, no fluff, just straight to key discussion points. A show that looks at a variety of topics, mostly politics, through a Christian U.S. constitutionalist lens. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Take care. God bless. Like and subscribe to Constitutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help.